I'm Tony Southcott.
And I'm Komette, and welcome to the Gorehounds Playground here in Fort Collins, Colorado. This is Booze and Booze, where we pair different alcoholic drinks with our reviews of horror movies.
And today we're talking about Us, the new Jordan Peele movie that is still in theaters, starring Lupita Nyong'o and Duke Winston.
Now let's go to the Gorehounds kitchen where I'm going to show you this week's drink. Hi everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to be making a drink that I'm calling The Shadow. For those who've seen this movie, it really makes sense, and I'm really excited because I got a new little toy. So this is black vodka from a local distillery here in Fort Collins, Colorado, called Coppermuse, and if you can't tell from the video, we'll do a little zoom in, but this is, it's black vodka. So it's vodka that is, I'm assuming it has charcoal in it, but it's a pitch black color. This is a really cool product if you're wanting to do any sort of horror themed drinks or Halloween themed drinks or anything like that. And I'm super excited we have it. So this is the main ingredient for the shot that we're going to be making today. Super simple. Let's get started. What you're going to want to do is grab your shaker glass, and it's going to be filled with ice already. Mine's movie magic, so it's done. And then you're going to grab your shot glass, and you're going to do one shot of the black vodka. Oh, it's crazy looking.
It's green black.
Yeah. And then we're going to do almost a full ounce of the lime juice. You don't want it too citrusy. And then I'm going to do a half an ounce of simple syrup. After that, put the top of your shaker on it and shake it up. I have my glass and my strainer. It's like gray color. And there you have it. I've made my very own shadow.
Well, we just got out of seeing Us, and like that movie is absolutely destroying at the box office, and I can kind of see why. Like,
yeah.
It's the follow-up to Jordan Peele's Get Out, and as far as a follow-up to a very powerful movie that Get Out was, I think that he did an amazing job with that.
He definitely has a talent for setting a mood and taking a story that you think is going to be a certain way and putting it on its head.
Yeah, and this was a thing that you were talking about before where you weren't actually hyped for this movie because you don't like the home invasion genre. Not
even a little. I was actually completely going into this movie expecting that I was going to hate it. Like, I didn't understand what the hype was all about. I thought that it was just bleed over from how good Get Out was, and I was legitimately expecting to dislike this movie, and I gotta say, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and the thing about it is it has elements of home invasion, but they're very limited, and like they're moving on and they're seeing more of the world. Usually home invasion is a product of having a very small budget. You have one location, you're not going anywhere else. This didn't have any sort of restraints like that. And one of the things that also is prominent in a lot of horror and home invasion is that there are people that make really, really dumb choices.
Yeah.
And in this movie, you didn't really have that.
No, I was really surprised. I was expecting everybody to kind of be timid throughout it, and like there was a switch, and everybody did what they gotta do, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, like the violence escalated quickly. You didn't like... You might be able to argue that there should have been more terror in some of these characters.
Yeah.
But there might even be reasons why certain characters weren't afraid on the same level as others. And this is a movie also where you could take it entirely literal and it's going to be a good movie, or you can take it for the symbolic meaning and it could be very, very deep. Like, I feel like this is the type of movie that's going to have a lot of papers written about it because of just the type of symbolism that he put into this, just the entire overall metaphor that he has that I'm still trying to unpack entirely.
Yeah, and I gotta say that watching this movie, I took it completely literal. I've never done any sort of psychology read-up, or I know nothing about it, so when Tony was talking about the elements that he's probably going to talk about, it went way over my head. So you can thoroughly enjoy this movie and what it has to offer without being privy to all of that.
Yeah. And, like, I think that even if you're not looking at it, like, beyond those levels, like you said, it's going to be enjoyable. You might, like, if you dig too deep, you're going to see plot holes.
Yeah.
But the way he built this universe, and Peele talked about this, that he knows the entire mythology behind this universe and how it fits in with Get Out. And
it's in the same... They're like,
cool.
So,
like, this is his world that he's sort of building. Of course, he's doing Twilight Zone now, so he's got a lot on his plate. But this sort of supernatural world that he's building is very fascinating, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really hoping he doesn't get like Shyamalan with this, where he's got a few really good stories and then it just peters out.
Yeah.
Because 2 entrances this strong are hard. It's hard to keep up with that sort of momentum.
Is Twilight Zone going to be a show?
It's going to be a show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
good for him. He deserves it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I like how they kind of steer you in a direction that you think it's going to go, and it doesn't like take a U-turn, but it kind of will start to go down a path that you did not expect, and I enjoyed that a lot. I think there is some undertones of like free will.
Yeah, definitely free will there.
That is really interesting. I don't know, this movie was really good. I liked the character development.
I felt like the family was a family, too.
Yeah, Yeah, there was parts even, a good portion into the movie where the daughter is rolling her eyes at the dad after all of this is happening. And I feel like that's so real, that even when people are put into situations and they have to do what they have to do, they're still themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's really hard to portray.
Yeah, they didn't shift entirely who they were.
Yeah.
Like, it was... And this goes to the actors that they got. Like, everybody that was in this, like, I'm sure you were distracted a little bit by Tim Heidecker. But,
I was totally distracted by Tim Heidecker.
But, like, as far as the Wilson family, like, I really enjoyed the casting for that. I thought they did a great job. Even whenever they're looking at their clones, even whenever, like, all this is going on, like, it just seems like it all fit together for me. Like...
Well, and I like how, so for those of you who don't know who Tim Heidecker is, he has got into fame by making the show called The Tim and Eric Show, and it is beyond ridiculous. It's a comedy, but it's over the top and everything. So seeing Tim try to break into more movie roles is interesting. He had a part in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and he's had a few other parts. I thought that they were going to make him serious, and I'm very, very happy and glad that they did not try to change who this actor is and what he's good at. He has a very small role in it. He is still prevalent.
Yeah, he's kind of a token, like, buffoon dad type.
Yeah, I was
like
expecting it to ruin
type.
it,
Yeah.
and he didn't for me, and I'm very happy. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, like, they didn't ask him to do too much out of his comfort
That's
zone,
what I'm.
so.
Yeah, that's what I'm not alluding to,
Yeah.
but trying to say is
Yeah.
that, and
I feel
that
like
family is really believable. I think.
Yeah, that family had some problems. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of had the whole thing of, like, twins are always creepier, so they added that in there. Like, it's just a bunch of little things that worked well for that family, and some, like, part of me thinks that family was added mostly as a way to get the body count up in this movie, but it didn't matter to me because they were still fleshed out characters that felt real, that felt like they were on, like, a summer house vacation. And they didn't really get along, but they didn't hate each other either. It's just
right.
Like,
it was like a
worked.
competition-based friendship. But I also think that the second family, was really prevalent because it turned it from being isolated to not, and that's how they went about it.
Yeah,
and I
they
think they did it
changed your
very
expectations.
well. Like I said, they think that you're steering into this one direction, and they turn the wheel for you. And I think it was really well done.
Yeah. Like, that's whenever you realize the scale of the situation.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I had questions of. I watched one trailer and was like, I'm sold, I'm going to go see it, so I didn't look into it anymore.
I didn't watch anything.
I avoided spoilers, like, somehow with Al, like, talking about it in meetings, we somehow avoided spoilers.
Albert.
Like, speaking of, he might be returning to the video channel for a one-time video where he explains this, like, symbols behind this movie. He was talking about doing that because he wants to get into it. Because, like, a lot of it is, like, Jungian psychology and all this other stuff, like, where you're looking at the shadow, which is part of the subconscious, and whenever you dive into that sort of thing, there's a lot of really cool stuff that this movie does, especially whenever you start talking about, like, how trauma can affect people. And if you were looking at the movie entirely as a metaphor, like where all of these problems surface from something that happens to the girl, the parents said, we have no idea what could have happened. Like, it's lending more that it could be more than just what's happening there. Even the fact that all these people come from underground, like from this sub area, like literally subway system, seems to fall into the subconscious.
This is where he loses me. Don't let me distract, please. Continue.
It's all very fun stuff, and like there's a lot more to it. Like, I feel like to really express that, either Al or I are gonna have to like just do a deep dive on it, because like I said, this is a movie with a lot to process. Like, if you're trying to look behind the symbols, behind the psychology, and Jordan Peele is a brilliant writer for actually being able to make this sort of stuff come to life. Like, I tried writing stories about Jungian archetypes at one point, and it was very, very, very soft and not like really that deep. So it's one of those where I don't know. It's powerful and it's fun, but it's a lot to explore, and I don't have the qualifications to go that deep on it.
Tony is impressed. Can you see how impressed he is? That's basically what he's trying to say. And it sounds like we're going to have another video that will talk more about the metaphorical side of this movie. Right now, what we'll do is concentrate on kind of the things that we cover, which is very literal in this video series. And that's where I can actually have opinions, because I literally have no idea what he's talking about.
Well,
but
also there would be like a 20-minute video of me just staring at the camera talking about psychology that I learned from like junior high. So like there's only so much
professional.
I can get in there.
Let's just say that. So let's go to some of the few things that we cover. Did you like it?
Definitely.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Worth watching. Did it scare you?
There were a few moments where it was creepy. Like, I didn't have any parts where I was like, oh my god. But, like, my favorite part, like, is whenever they see the family at the top of the driveway, and just, like, with a few clips, or clicks, they, like, send everything, like, into motion. That stuff was really cool. Like, the thing is, whenever I see something that's supposed to be scary, or would scare, like, Tabitha and some of my other friends, I usually think, oh, that's awesome, how did they do that? So, like, I'm never fully, like, in the moment of a movie, and I was trying to figure out what, like, all this meant. And I think that's why
through and through.
Yeah, that's why I think that it's hard for me to get scared by movies, is I'm looking at everything that's happening behind the scene and in front of the suit, like just too much of that. Did anything freak you out in this movie?
Yeah, there was a few parts that I wasn't expecting to happen. I kind of knew, like, you hear music and you're like, oh, okay, something's kind of coming. It's like horror sense.
Yeah.
But I had a few surprises. I did jump, but that was like a cheap shot, and I don't think it counts.
The owl?
Yeah, I jumped both times with the owl, which if you've seen the movie, like... It's
a small cheap shot jump scare, and I'm not going to hold this against it. You can have two in a horror movie,
exactly.
And it's okay. Like,
but there's a few parts where I was like, oh no, like...
the suspense was very real, more than the terror.
Yeah, the suspense is very creepy, suspenseful, whatnot. Rewatchability.
I think that I could do this quite a few times because there's a lot to unpack. As far as just like the literal thing, I would still say it's pretty rewatchable.
I'd rewatch it.
Maybe not movie theater again, but like whenever it comes out on Blu-ray, definitely. Like,
yeah, I agree with that. I would maybe, if my friend was like, hey, do you want to go see Us? I'd be like, yeah, sure. But I don't think I'd drag somebody to go to the movie theater. I don't think the movie theater gave it a certain more element. So it's definitely something that you can wait for on... for home and whatnot, but it's definitely, I think rewatchability is definitely there.
We also went to a 10:30 a.m. showing, so it's like one of those where it's like you don't have that late night vibe. I kind of wish that I would have gone on opening night just to see a packed theater and to see how people reacted, because it is a funny movie, or in certain parts. It is a creepy movie in certain parts, and I think that the crowd would have responded well. And I think that just goes back to Jordan Peele being an excellent writer and excellent, like, he was a comedian before he was any of this stuff, so like that humor definitely shows through.
It's genuine humor. Yeah, it's not like fake lipstick humor that you see in a lot of horror movies, and I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, and it wasn't quite as slapsticky as the character from Get Out, like the Fred character that came to like help out, where it's just constant, like that guy was just comedic relief.
Yeah,
this movie didn't have that, so they didn't overdo it either.
They killed their comedic relief.
Yeah,
pretty suddenly too. Okay, yeah, So overall, we liked it. Go watch it. Go watch it again. Let us know if you thought this movie was more literal or if you thought it was more of a metaphor. Are you a Komette or are you a Tony with this? Let us know, and always like and subscribe the videos. Let us know what you think of our cool black vodka drink.
Yep.
All that fun stuff. And of course, if you really, really like us, which we hope that you do, go check out our Patreon page. There's a bunch of different tiers. You can get early access to our videos, original art, pins, postcards, all of that fun stuff if you help support us.
Yep. That's patreon.com/human echoes.
Perfect.
We will see you guys soon with more Booze and Booze, more remake versus original, and more 5 facts.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.